I'm live now, sis. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Love you, sis. Bye-bye. So, hey, love. So, I have some questions here that I'll be answering for you today, and then I'll have other members of the cast come in and join in and stuff like that. I'm still getting judged. Thank you, sweetheart. So, I have a question from @Liz Calvario, and his question is, if you could keep one pose outfit, which one would it be? And I would have to say the black dress oh gosh, wait, no. Oh, much love to South Africa. My love to Brazil also. Yeah, so, now there were some furs that I loved, and then there was, I think I'll have to say the black dress designed by Ana Lucia and the team, the wardrobe team. It fit the body. I felt the glamour. I felt everything. So I loved that one. Oh, you recognize me by my voice. Oh my God. Well then, sweetheart, you should be watching Pose. It's on Netflix right now, so you can catch up. FX also. And so my next question is from Victoria Moyeno. And that is, was it hard getting into character as a house mother? Actually, no, it was not difficult for me to get into character because being a mother is something that I experienced and learned. I can't say I learned it, just it was almost instinctive because it's basically the same thing as parenting. And we have to take care of our children. We have to look out for them. We want the best for them and stuff like that. So it wasn't hard getting into the role at all. It was just living my life, but being a different type of mother. And Elektra is the type of mother that sometimes, you might not want to talk to all the time. At Kai the Rhinestone Cow's question is, dear Icon, what's your skincare routine? I'm black. I use like witch hazel, aloe, but I thank my mother, my father for, I thank my mother and my father, and it's just drink a lot of water, and I use witch hazel and oil of Olay. I've been using oil of Olay products ever since I was maybe like in my teens, so I've just stuck with that. Who do you look to for inspiration when playing Elektra? So I've had many mothers throughout the scene, and so from Moldavia La Beja to Tommy Ross, who's my pageant mother, and I've also been able to experience the mothering of other people. And Paris Dupree told me a lot about Avis Pendavis and Pepe La Beja, and we're always being schooled about the pioneers and the mothers that were pioneers. So I look to them, and I look to those women, that most of them that are no longer here with us, for their guidance, and just remembering the things that they would say and the way they would say it is what helps me to bring Elektra to the forefront. At Tay Blue, how has starring on Pose changed your life? Starring on Pose has changed my life in good ways, always, but in some ways I'm still fearful because as a black trans woman, I can't hide anymore. I cannot be stealth. I'm out here. So I'm not as free to run around as I used to, but I don't mind it at all because now I am able to pay my bills. That's what's most important. A lot of times I'm able to eat, I'm able to pay my bills, and if there's, when my family or someone needs something, now I can say, look, I can help if I can, and it gives me the security to feel like a human being, to feel normal, and that may sound weird to some people, but yeah, life can be tough, and I've been through some tough times. Billy's here. Okay. Hey,
Hey,
Mr. Porter.
what's going on? Something's frozen with my phone, but can you see me?
I can see you. We can see you.
Okay.
They
Because
said,
I
come
can't see
through,
me.
Billy.
I only see the top half of your face, gorgeous
How
woman.
are you doing?
I'm missing you.
I'm missing you too.
I'm missing you. We were on, we did our thing last week, song.
But you are doing some wonderful things, Billy. I mean, everything you're doing out there is so amazing. I'm always so proud to just see you doing your thing. I love it. And
You see, I got my
listen,
trans
we can't hear you, baby.
on. Can you hear me?
No.
Okay.
There you go.
Here we go. I don't know what's going on, but you know, I think that the ethers are mad because there's too many people on it at the same time.
Really, that outfit by the pool, that pose, everything was everything. Oh my gosh, that was everything. I live.
Listen, I have to hold up the banner, child, because the expectation. I got my ladies teaching me how to do it all.
Well, you know, you're doing great. But Billy, here's something, right? The fans want to know, what was your favorite red carpet look?
I would have to say it is the first Oscar tuxedo dress, Christian Siriano, because it's what launched the conversation. It was an idea in my head. It has been an idea. It was an idea in my head for years and years and years. And I never even, I used to speak of it with my friends when we were in acting school and we would watch the Oscars and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna wear a gown to the Oscars. I'm gonna wear a gown to the Oscars. And then I was invited to do the red carpet and I was reminded of those conversations and I thought, wow, if there's any moment for me to do it that actually makes sense, you know what I mean?
That was
it's
it. Yeah.
me connected to this show, connected to this world. It's a natural extension for me to show up totally in my authenticity. And so it launched the whole thing. So that I would say that's my favorite because it began the conversation.
Well, I love that look. I love all your looks. The Oscars, the Emmys, like everything. Like every time you step out, Billy, I'm just so proud. I'm like a proud sister. You know that.
Thank you.
And
this caftan was done by Caftco. I just want to give him a shout out because he sent me these. He sent me like 3 or 4 of these. And this one is dedicated to the trans colors.
Ooh, that's nice.
She a caftan, honey.
Oh, she looks so nice. Yes, I love the freedom. The freedom.
The freedom, darling.
Yeah.
So my Essence cover just came out today. I don't know if you know.
Congratulations. I didn't see it yet.
But I've only seen it because my family, a lot of members in my family who get Essence in the mail, they get the and so it started coming last week. So I started getting like phone calls with pictures of it. It's really special because, I talk about this all the time just in terms of, as queer people,
right?
The trans community, the LGBTQ community, all of us, we're Black first.
Exactly.
We're Black first. And I think what's going on right now illuminates the fact that you can't dismiss us. You may no longer silence us, right? There's a lot of people who are like, well, this really isn't the time for, this really isn't the blah, blah, blah. Can't you just hold off on that? No.
No, we can't.
We did that the first time. Yeah. His name was Bayard Rustin. If you don't know his name, Google him. He was the architect of the civil rights movement. He was a gay man who taught Martin Luther King Jr. everything he knew, and they silenced him the first time. So no, we will not be silent. We will not be silent.
We cannot.
It's all of it. None of us are free till we're all free. And like I say in my new Essence did, they do this this video that goes in conjunction with it. And like I said, none of us are free till we're all free. So, this conversation isn't about what you feel about my life. It's not about acceptance. It's not about tolerance. I don't care what you think. That's not your business.
Right.
The only conversation that we're having is to talk about respect for our humanity.
Exactly.
Take your Bible somewhere else. Take all of that shit somewhere else. Don't worry about my salvation. Worry about your own. If you think I'm going to hell, that's cool. I don't believe that. We can believe two separate things and coexist on this planet.
Yes, we can. Thank you. Speak on it, Billy. Speak.
We can, and we must. Otherwise, it's over.
That is true.
And as we can see, and it's not just about Black people. As you can see, with this administration, 40 million people on unemployment, 127,000 people dead and rising. Because white folks think they can do whatever they want. Y'all want to know what white privilege is? We're living through it right now. We're living through what white privilege is and does. Because I assure you, if Barack Obama had done one of the things that this monster has done, they would have strung him up by a tree on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue 2 days in, and y'all know it.
And that's so true. That's true.
Called white privilege. We're living through it right now. We can't even leave the fucking house. Enough.
I hear you, Billy.
Enough.
So, Billy, let me ask you something.
Yes.
How have you seen LGBTQ representation evolve in the fashion and film industries over the years? And
I have to say that, when I first came into the business, there was no representation. There was no one that looked like me. There was no one that vibrated through the world like me. And I had to search. They don't teach Bayard Rustin in school. They don't teach James Baldwin in public school. They teach Langston Hughes, but they take the gay out. You see, they teach about the Harlem Renaissance, but they take the gay out of it. They don't tell you that Zora Neale Hurston was a lesbian. County Cullen was gay. These people were gay.
I love hearing you speak, Billy. Speak on it.
But y'all suck that part out because you get to choose how. It's like, and I'm vibrating very high right now because we've been in the house for 3 months. We've been cooped up in the house for 3 months.
I know.
Look at what is happening in the world. We have to come together and make this world a better place. And the only way we can do that is through loving each other. Loving each other through our differences. Looking at somebody else on the other side who doesn't understand us and going, I love you anyway.
Preach on it, Billy.
I love you because of your difference. That's the only way that humanity is going to survive. You better have that touch up beside you. And don't think I didn't notice your Beyonce fan on our thing the other day.
Hey, I am full-time fancy. I am accepting my life as it is.
Yes.
And I am enjoying it. And I'm not letting anyone silence me or stop me from being me. If I'm full-time fancy, I'm full-time fancy.
I love it. And here's what I say to you and all of the girls on our show and all of the trans women who move through this life with so much fear. One of the things that was so powerful for me, you know, being a gay man of a certain age, I'm 50, so I lived through the AIDS crisis. What we're talking about in Pose, I lived it, right? And I have to say, and, you know, I'm embarrassed by this fact, but honestly, the T in LGBTQ was largely absent from my knowledge for many, many years. Not because I didn't want to. No, not because I didn't want to know. Just because the conversation wasn't at the forefront. And we were fighting so hard for one particular thing that it was just a lot. And I'm so sorry. I am so sorry for not knowing. You know, but like Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. And I want every single trans human being in this world to know that if nothing else, I got y'all's back.
I love you, Billy.
I got y'all's back because we can't do it without you. We never did it without you. You know, it's like the LGBT movement, Q movement was started by trans women of color. You know, this is the information that was kept from us for so long. But now we know.
And I thank you.
Fucking day. And I am here for y'all. I am present.
I love you so much, Billy. Thank you.
You know, and every time I go out, every time I speak, I am representing my girls and my boys.
I love you so much, Billy. Thank you for that. And you know something? That's something that a lot of us just really want to hear. We want to hear that we matter. We want to hear that we are acknowledged. We want to hear that we are loved because that's what we do. We give love. And speaking of love, the video, that song "Love Yourself," it was so important, especially at this time right now. It's so beautiful. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I look at it every single day, not only because I have the fan, but yes, because it has so much meaning. It's so wonderful. And Billy, so here's another question. Well, where did you get? At Lindsay Smart says, where did you gain your confidence to be your unique self?
You know, that's an interesting question. It came over time. You know, I always had confidence in my talent. You know, the first 20 years of my career was based on me trying to be masculine enough so that I could get a job, so that I could eat. I was watching Oprah, as we all were wont to do. And she had on Maya Angelou and she had on Ayanna Van Sant. And they were talking about intention. And they said, when you switch your intention to service, everything else will work itself out. And I thought to myself, how can I be of service in an industry that is inherently narcissistic? And after a while, it hit me like a ton of bricks. That thing that everybody's telling you is your liability, that queer thing, that you're not masculine enough thing, that, leaning into that will be your service. You know, this was over 20 years ago when there was nothing that looked like me. And the only gay stories that were being told and queer stories that were being told by white people. And the ones that were being told by Black people were so like invisible that you never even realized they were there. You know, and so I always say it's easy to be who you are when what you are is what's popular. It wasn't popular to lean into my authenticity at that time. But I had no choice. There was nothing else or no one else that I could do or be. And so I did. And I got really comfortable with not working, the work dried up for me for a decade. I didn't work on Broadway for a decade. But what I will say is that valley forced me to engage with my creativity in a different way. I went to graduate school at UCLA and started writing. I started directing. I started creating. I started understanding, because this was before social media. This was before the generation of create your own stuff. It should come from you. I'm the last of a generation of people who were taught to be brilliant interpreters of other people's material. I wasn't taught to be my own voice. I wasn't taught to be that. So it wasn't until I turned 30 and I was in my 30s that idea even came into my head. Like, it was like, oh shit, wait, I should write. Like, I should write it. And at the same time, I came across this, one of my favorite quotes from Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us. And it goes on to talk about, who am I to be fabulous, beautiful, spectacular? Who am I not to be?
Absolutely right.
We were all born in the image of God. We were all made to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. That quote sustained me for 20 years.
And I'm going to be using it now. Well, Billy, I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you. And guys, stick around because we're going to have up next, I believe, the one and only MJ Rodriguez.
I love you. I miss you.
I miss you too. I love you so much, Billy. Thank you for all that you do. Just thank you for the love that you give to us.
Yes. I'll see you soon.
See you soon, my love. But, oh, Billy, wait. What's your favorite song right now?
My own. I have two. It's called For What It's Worth. That single came out 3 months ago. And then my new song, Finally Ready, came out last Friday. So go and get them. They're about love and joy and politics and peace and all of that. So go get them. Those are my favorite.
All right. Love you, Billy. Bye.
Love you too.
Loving the house. I have to come visit.
Come visit. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, guys, that was Billy Porter. Now I have my little baby. Hi.
Hello.
MJ, my baby. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good. I'm doing pretty well. I can't complain. I feel like I have to fix this because it may fall over. Okay.
I'm so beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
How have you been?
I am well.
I can tell.
Standing in my truth and loving myself.
Period. That's on period.
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, so I have questions for you.
Okay.
I miss you so much. I miss you so much.
I miss you too, Dominique.
I can't wait for us to just see each other.
Yeah, listen, once all of this is over, once everything is figured out, I feel like we're going to be getting back there very, very soon.
Yes. Oh, my God. You look so beautiful. Say hi to Moms for me, of course. Send her my love.
I promise I will.
So your vocal performances are amazing. When are you releasing a solo album? And this is from at Gina BDL.
Hey, Gina, girl, how are you doing? I'm working on that. I'm in the midst of working on that.
You better. You better.
Listen,
come on.
I'm really trying my best to get everything together, get everything collectively together, and just make sure I bring it together the right way and make sure that the concepts and everything are good. And then after that, it will be rolling out. I can't tell y'all how soon because there's work that's put into it, But yeah.
Oh wow! Congratulations, baby. I can't wait. I really can't wait because I've been waiting for over a year now. So
It's been a minute. I've been so focused on acting. I'm like, it's gotta keep
I know. Okay. At Sarah Paulson WU asked, what was your favorite scene to shoot for Pose?
Ooh. My favorite scene thus far is episode 8 of season 2. y'all. But one, it was all of us in that room together. We were cracking up at the scenes that were taking place because we knew that they were so reminiscent of like family dynamics around the world. So it was a good moment for me to just be in a group with like you and India and Billy and Delon and Ryan and like every single last person, like just all of us collectively, cohesively together. And
Wow.
just being able to like give it like how we gave it.
It was fun.
It
was
was
really fun. Yeah, it really was. I like that one too. But my favorite was the beach trip.
Oh,
because
girl.
I got
that
to
was
greet
like,
Karen
okay.
in the restaurant.
Oh yeah, girl, because you served that woman severely. You gave her everything she needed. What?
And you had a boyfriend. That's what I love too. Blanca got some loving going on.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. It was
hot.
like that was the moment. I feel like that was the moment for Blanca to like really like solidify herself as something that's appealing and someone, a human being that's appealing and that attract individuals and that can like, be loved or have some kind of connection with somebody. I think that was like a great moment for the world to see that there are beautiful trans women out there, no matter what part of your journey you're at, you're beautiful, and that somebody out there loves you. Somebody out there sees you and that they do want to be with you.
Yes, and especially at this time too, where we're seeing all these, and not to take the tone down, but
No, we
we're
can.
seeing
I'm down for that.
all these murders of our sisters, and we know for point blank, we're just like everyone else trying to find love, and we should not be harmed for trying to find love and stuff like that. So, I really get you on that.
Yeah, seeing all of them has. Yes. 1 second, I'm having an interview. All right. That's my stepdad, y'all.
Say hi to stepdad for us.
Yeah, I will. After this, I'm going to let him know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like every single thing that's been going on in the world, like collectively with our Black lives at stake, our Black trans lives at stake, our just humanity just in general at stake, like I feel it's a hard bargain when it comes to love towards even us, because, and I hate to say even bargain because that's not the right word, but like it makes you feel like you're not wanted. It makes you feel like you're left out. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I realized the last couple weeks I have had.
They cracking up at my stepdad. My bad, y'all.
That is so cool. Yeah, the last couple of weeks I've realized, and especially with the barbaric murder of Brayla Stone, that last one really hit me hard. She was only 17 years old. And, people spoke a lot about, she was fooling people or she outed people and stuff like that. But who doesn't want someone that's dating them to be able to be seen with them?
I think, exactly. I think that even the terminology fooling is just like, it can be derogatory. It can be a little combative when those words are used. Because, I mean, no one's fooling anyone. We're simply being who we are from day one. So,
and how has this affected you?
It's been affecting me a lot. I mean, I've been very, very adamant on my Instagram page is where I can like spew everything and I can let my fans know how I feel and I can let them really see that there are truths out there that you have to find out for yourself, because there are a lot of people who will not tell you, especially as being a person of color, especially as being a person who is trans. You have to be open and you have to be willing to learn. But yeah, that's one of the reasons for me. And that's what I've been feeling like. I've been feeling like there's truths that are not being told to us. And we're finding them out through like social platforms like how we're having now, but it needs to be broadcasted everywhere because these are lives that are being lost. They're not just like disposable lives. That's not what we are. These are lives that are human lives and they need care, So
yeah, we're all human beings, and that's what people need to see. Let's strip away all that other aesthetic. Let's strip away everything else and see that we are human beings, each and every one of us.
Exactly.
But so let me ask you, what advice do you have for trans people who lose love for themselves? And this is from Mariah Zim Pio Glow.
Can you say it one more time?
What advice do you have for trans people who lose love for themselves?
Oh no. Okay, so the advice that I would have, what I would say is, well, first, know that you are beautiful. Know that your existence is very, very accurate. Know that your existence is needed and it deserves to be here. Period. Because I mean, that's what is given to us. Our life is one of the most beautiful blessings we can have, and I think it's kind of adamant to know that you deserve to be here. So that's number one. And like some structural things that I do for myself is I go in the mirror and I look at myself in the mirror and I address the person that's right there, right in front of me, which is me. And I let myself know how amazing I am. I let myself know how beautiful I am. I let myself know how sometimes I can be insecure because that's what humans aspects are. That I let myself know everything about me. So when I go out into the world, nobody can say anything about me. I'm confident enough to just move through the world as I know I can. So yeah, that's what I would tell a young trans girl who's coming up in a world right now where there's so much going on. But for them to know that even though there may be times where you think you may be fearing something, it's not the time to fear, it's the time to grow, it's the time to learn, and it's the time to really, really step into who you are, because it's important, especially as a Black, melanated individual in this world. Especially as a Black melanated individual in this world, because right now we're seeing that there's obviously a very it's a specific type of approach to melanated individuals. And when I say melanated, that includes Black people, Latino people, Asian individuals, because there are melanated Asian individuals, European melanated individuals who are the complexion like me and Dominique. Like there are people that are out there who are going through it just like us over here in America. And I feel like as a trans young individual, know these things because they're very important and it'll build you. It will build you.
MJ, that was so beautiful. So let me ask you another
Hey
thing then.
everybody, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry?
Oh, because I was like, I wasn't saying hi to the people in the space and everything.
See, you're so sweet all the time. It's like you're just love 24/7, and I love that about you. So let me
That's my
ask you
life.
something. Who do you look to? Who is someone you look to for inspiration?
Well, girl, so you know what I'm going to say about that. It's the ultimate teacher in my life. I mean, I've looked to my father, obviously, for inspiration. I looked to my stepdad for inspiration. I looked to a lot of my friends for inspiration. I look to a lot of people, but the most important person who has raised me and who instilled womanhood in me before I even met my trans sisters, before I even knew about my identity as a trans woman, I had a Black woman in my life who instilled my womanhood, and that is my mother. She's the one that I draw inspiration from every single day, and she's the one that gives me hope in this world, and she's the one who sends me to change it. Like, she's the one who encourages me to change it. And I'm very appreciative of that and I'm very thankful because there are a lot of my sisters out there that are not allotted that opportunity, and they find them in trans mothers out there all around the world. So my mother is my biggest inspiration, and she's the one who's helping me. She doesn't even know it sometimes, but she's the one who's helping me, lay the soil, plant the seeds, and have a foundation.
So one more question for you because I know you got to go. Stepdaddy's calling you.
Yes.
So my very last question to you is, well, not a question. I'm just going to ask you, can you please speak to parents who may have trans children? Please.
Dear parents around the world, if you have a kid who is simply being a kid, but you see specific nuances that are beautiful, I encourage you to let that child be the child they are. Don't depict them. Don't put them in certain brackets. Don't put them in boxes. Love them unconditionally as you normally would. Push aside your ideals of what you wanted, but see what you have received and that it's a blessing. And when you notice that, grow them in the way that you need to help them grow so that they can know what to really fight against. and not focus on the things that you think needs to be fought against, because in reality, it's nothing to be fought against. You can see it, me, Dominique, Indya, Haley Sahar, Angelica, we are leading examples of how a parent should raise their child. And we've all had parents in our lives, many different types of parents in our lives that have raised us well. And take that advice and don't be shunned away by it because it's another parent's journey with their child. Instead, learn from it and do those things with your child and watch. It'll grow just like a plant. The child will grow just like a plant, baby, and it will blossom, and then you will be happy with the colors that you get.
So beautifully said, MJ. Thank you for that. And I hope that parents all throughout are hearing your words and heeding to your advice. So I know you got to go. I love you so much. I miss you. And thank you for being here with me today, okay?
Yes, indeedy.
All right, love you, baby girl.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, that was MJ Rodriguez, my baby girl. And now I believe we have my young warlock.
Hey, how are you, Papi?
What's up, my young warlock?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
You look amazing. And I have to tell you, watching the Posathon, that song, it was so beautiful.
Oh, you.
You know, every time you sing, your voice just takes me to a place. It's just so soothing.
Thank you so much, mommy.
And so powerful.
Thank you.
My
Thank
gosh.
you.
I love you so much.
I love you. You look so great. Look at you. I love seeing like the hands come in with the makeup and everything. It's so good. It's so good. It's right here. It's right here.
Full-time fancy.
Full-time fancy.
And you look amazing. You look a little French today.
Thank you. No, I'm giving that today. I said, wait, I gotta do that today.
I love it. So, of course, your fans have some questions for you.
Okay.
And at Charlotte Waring 555 asked, what was your favorite scene to film and why?
Okay, so my favorite scene, there's about a few of them, but most recently is episode 8, season 2, when we're all around the table. I kid you not. That was so great, but I know for me, my most favorite scene out of everything would have to be the pilot's, that audition scene at the end of the pilot, just because that really just kind of cemented like, yo, we're about to start this journey, all of us, you know, and that just felt like, yo, I'm on a Ryan Murphy show. I have to, you know, like, oh my goodness, we are here. And doing, you know, it's oftentimes you don't find projects that go hand in hand with your politics and your own being, and then also it being so special and so endearing and so successful. And that had to be those two. But definitely when I had to get everybody together, and then you came with the meme that has now become the meme of all memes. I'm just like, oh my God. So yes, I know. Girl, that was a moment.
Yes, it was. Oh my God. I really enjoyed, and you know what? When we actually filmed it, it was spicy.
It was so spicy.
It was. And then we got to see it, and it was like, wow. You know, I really love that too. So let me ask you, at Tay Blue asks, when did you start dancing?
I started dancing, so the first thing that I ever did before I did acting, before I did singing, was dance. I started dancing when I was 4. I took tap dance because my mom said that I didn't have rhythm. So she was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna put you in dance. And then dance kind of went, and then it was like tap, then ballet, then modern, then I was playing sports. And because I think, you know, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm here right now. And specifically, when you're a Southern boy, there's an epitome of just like, you're supposed to play sports. It's either sports or rap or do something like that. And I was an artist, you know, I wanted to perform, I wanted to dance. And dance was looked at as something feminine, you know, something that was not, they didn't see the strength in it. So I was having to juggle and appease myself and having to work around other people's ideas of me, when really and truly I was already finding who I was from a very early age. And I think that's what's so powerful about dance and about what Pose does, is that it's a group of people that chooses their truth over their safety, no matter what it may be. And, you know, being a facilitator of that is really, really amazing. So yeah.
Awesomeness.
Uh-huh.
Deep. That was deep and so powerful too, because I know that a lot of kids now are starting to feel more fluid because I guess parents are starting to understand just because a kid dances does not mean, we need to stop equating action with, lifestyle and all that stuff. It's about, listen, if I like dance, that does not make me gay or whatever. I like to dance.
Yes, it's just I like to dance.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly it. But okay, so what have you learned from playing Damon on Pose?
I've learned, to echo what Billy said about trans visibility and knowing people of trans experience and gender nonconforming folk and gender queers. A part of my life, I was ballroom adjacent, right? So I didn't really know, kind of like what Damon goes through. I went through. I didn't know a lot of people that were in ballroom in Birmingham, Alabama. There are people, and in Atlanta and et cetera, but I didn't know while I was growing up. So for me, it was an opportunity for me to re-educate myself on my history. And I find that just as much as Damon had his own idiosyncrasies and biases and prejudices towards Blanca when he first meets her, like, I'm not like you. I think that somewhere in my own conditioning, I was also feeling that way about the whole LGBTQIA plus community outside of my own G or Q, and I think that Pose, it brought me, first off, Damon has taught me to have more compassion and to understand that love is an action. Love is not just kind, love is constructive. And I think that with having beautiful people like you, you know how we love, how we get down.
Yeah.
You know how we get down. It's one of those things where it has really just amplified and really given me the space to hold space for everybody around me, and hold space for my sisters, my trans sisters, my trans brothers, my non-conforming folk, in a way that has really just opened and made my whole life more expansive and more loving, because you realize that what makes us unique is our differences. What are our superpowers are our differences. And I think that is so powerful, what Damon has taught me. And also just to be comfortable being me, like truly being me, like all of my queerness, not just what is in proximity to whiteness, what is in proximity to straight heteronormative activity, but honestly knowing that there's masculinity and there's beauty and power where masculinity and femininity can meet, and understanding that where true power lies and where true humanity lies is in between those two spaces. So I think that, create an open environment. What's up, India? Hey, everybody, by the way, too. I love y'all. And I love you, like, it has really been, there's something, when you make a mistake, I think that, and I'm leaving it at this, when you make a mistake, like, just because I had my own perceptions of what people outside of my own part of the pie looked like, act like, were like, right? And then I think what Pose gave me was the moment to really engage outside of that mistake or that prejudice, constructive criticism and constructive love, constructive action, where I can show up for all of us. And not knowing, like, I was benefiting from my own privilege. And that's what people have to understand, is just like, Pose has been such a liberation for not only the audience, but also the folk that are there. And knowing, just knowing my history, and just a complete whirlwind of just being honest and true and sincere, and also of like mind and of loving kindness. And I think that if we lead with that as a humanity, we'll be so much better for it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love hearing you speak. So it's all blessing. Billy, MJ, all of you, like, when you speak, it's just blessing. And I just wish that people could constantly hear you, follow your pages, listen to the stuff you're saying. Because for me, I see where, younger folks are now looking to you, looking to the rest of the cast and saying to themselves, look, I can be me. It's okay for me to be me. And parents are watching Pose and going, okay, I don't want my child to have to go through that, and becoming more understanding, and and realizing, look, it's not for me to accept or tolerate, but it's for me to help nurture and grow, And so with everything happening, the current climate in our in our world right now. What does pride to you mean this year?
First off, you look great. I just keep looking at you and you look stunning. Okay? Like
Thank
okay.
you, handsome. So do you.
No, but pride for me is just that it's uplifting and it's building the communities around us, the intersections that we all are at. Because I think that pride and proud, it's an activation, right? Like I think about those two words and I think about what they instill in me, which is hope, which is some type of peace, and it engages my imagination, which imagination is like the incubator for innovation and progression. You know, we couldn't have Pose, we couldn't have these buildings that are outside, we couldn't have how we have defined ourselves, how businesses have defined themselves if we did not have imagination. And I find that pride was such an outcry from, you know, the people that were the song heroes and the unsung heroes who were not being heard and not being seen and not being valued. So they realized, like, they imagined a world and a time in which we could all be free. And I mean, completely free. You know, so I think that pride is always, for me, from Birmingham, Alabama, being brought up by Black Panthers and, you know, Southern Christian Leadership Conference members and, you know, people that marched with Martin King and Fred Showsworth, it has always been an activation and a call to service, a call to action. You know, because I think that without Black and brown trans women, without Black and brown queer folk at the front lines of social change, there would not be a gay liberation movement. There would not be. And so we have to remember that, as Marsha P. Johnson said, until all of my people around America, all across America, have rights, then there's no requirement or no necessity for a celebration. It just can't be a celebration. It has to be, you have to put tangible action and really learn from how we have had this social casteism. I mean, I think Lulu Ferocity in the show says about our community, everybody needs somebody to make them feel superior. And that's not what pride is. And, you know, I think that we are at a nexus in our community and in the world in which we're realizing, like, yo, I've been operating and benefiting from a system that has overtly been oppressing me. And also it has been wildly successful in me oppressing people around me. And I think when you realize that, we can start undoing the harmful dogma and the harmful stigma and trauma that has been just overlaid. And we've been just, okay, we'll put a Band-Aid over that and we'll deal with that sometime else. Not really dealing with. So pride for me, you know, it's not different from how I was brought in. It was just like, okay, well, welcome to the movement. Finally, let's do it. And then also celebrates it. You know, we have to.
Oh, okay, well, that's deep. I tell you, I love hearing you speak because young, future, brilliant. Yes,
it's the Pisces power.
So, okay. So, on a lighter note, and I know we have to go now because you are busy. Tell the people, I know you read, so tell the people what you're reading now.
Okay, so I'm reading The Source of Self-Regard by Toni Morrison. I'm also reading over pages of my book that I'm writing right now.
Oh, yes! I'm through! That's what's up! Congratulations! Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
So I'm doing that, and then I'm doing like Edmund White, A Boy's Own Story, which for any queer person or any person of the community, definitely reading that. It's by Edmund White. And it reminds me just of the things, because I didn't have gay mentors. I didn't have folks that were really working and really pouring into me on that way until I got to college. Then thus, now I have you as a mentor and a big sis, and I have, you know, like Billy and MJ and Indya and Angel and Delon and everybody around me that is helping me just facilitate some type of being. So I'm reading Source of Self-Regard. I just read More Than Enough by Elaine Bredelroth. And I'm a reader. You know that. You know.
I know you're a reader.
Yeah, you know I love to read.
I'm trying. I'm still trying to get through Becoming Michelle. And
and I have that one too. I've still not yet.
Right. I haven't finished it yet, but I did finish Tina Turner's My Love Story, and that was
fabulous.
deep. That was really deep. I really love that. Well, I love you.
I love you.
I can't wait to see you soon. Okay.
I can't wait.
So say bye to the people.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Do your thing. Get Dominique to be Storm.
Oh, my God.
Immediately. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
I love you, Brian. Enjoy the rest of your day.
So, okay, now I'm going to bring on someone that really is an inspiration to me, even though she's much, much younger than I am. When I first met this young lady, I knew that she was amazing because not only was she in her truth and unapologetic about it, but she would never back down from anyone trying to tell her who she should be. And I'm speaking none other than the philanthropist and activist, my baby, Indya Moore.
Hey, mother.
Hey, gorgeous. Look at you. Oh, the skin is everything.
Thank you.
Oh, you look so beautiful.
Just for you.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Hey,
love
Tourmaline.
it.
How are you? That was, oh my God, that interview was so beautiful. Ryan, I don't know if you're watching this right now, but that was so amazing. And you spoke so beautifully. Y'all, that was such an amazing interview. I loved it. I don't have no interview. Okay, bye.
Wait, gorgeous, come back here.
Ryan said everything.
Well, no, because,
I'm
you
just,
know, okay, so I have other things to talk to you about also. And, you know, you are a driving force behind people respecting our community. You're a driving force. You never let anyone put you down, or you never back down. Where do you find that courage? Where do you find that confidence?
there are a lot of things I think that work intersectionally as far as my drive. I think one of them is that I care about people. I care about people, particularly, you know, victims of systemic harm. I think it's unbelievable to me, you know, every time I think about it, that I just popped up into existence 25 years ago, into like this system that has existed for so long and has been working consistently throughout multiple lifetimes, like in keeping, you know, people oppressed and like stuck in this cyclical state of never growingness. And, you know, like, it's just, it's wild to think about, you know, from that scope. So, you know, like, I'm always like, oh my God, this is a system that we need to fight constantly in each and every generation, you know, and everything that we can do. And then so like there's that, but then there's also actually being a victim of the system, being victimized by the system, I think is also, you know, my drive. Like my drive is rooted in self-preservation also, you know, because girl, who's gonna fight for us if we don't fight for us, you know? We exist in such a small demographic, so we need to hold our power.
That is true. That is true. So let me ask you, I'm going to ask you probably the same question I just asked Ryan. What have you learned from playing Angel on Pose?
Playing Angel on Pose for me just destigmatized my fear around people knowing that I was a sex worker, people knowing that I was sex trafficked. And it also brought to light, you know, it made room for this conversation around the ways that we as trans and queer people are out here having to sell our bodies to survive. As teenagers, as babies, as kids, we're thrown in that situation. And we're also often presented that route by other elders in our community because there's no other way often for us to survive. So it brought that, I think, extreme issue into the limelight. Like, yo, our babies who are queer and trans are out here being sexually exploited because of systemic oppression and the systemic marginalization of trans folks. We're being kicked out of our homes as kids, and we're having to resort to the streets to survive. And, you know, I think this is the story of a lot of kids who don't have families and who don't have homes. They're ending up and having to survive in these really dangerous and traumatic ways. And so, you know, playing Angel gave a voice to that. you know, like it's just incredible. Not only destigmatize the shame around being a sex worker for me, but also just brought to light like, yo, this is a problem that our babies, that your children, that our children are getting caught up in, for real. But that was just one of the things, you know, that was just one of the things. I think that was the biggest lesson.
Okay, so let me ask a lighthearted question now. Okay, what was your favorite scene to film?
My favorite scene, I think the excitement around Angel's success, like going to the audition. That was my favorite scene, going to the audition. And then seeing Angel in her most vulnerable moments, being consoled by Blanca. You know, like just those moments of just seeing how we show up for each other whenever we're feeling down. My favorite scenes is the ones where I also get to show up for Blanca when she's feeling a shift in her self-worth and confidence. Like, I loved being able to be a pillar, or like I loved that we got to see how we show up for each other as these pillars, you know, to support one another. And so that was really beautiful to see, like, and to experience as an actor also. We don't have any, like, that many, you know, we don't have a lot of visible moments of being loved as trans people on screen. Our narratives are often centered around being hated. So, like, I love so much to see the way that we love each other and we fill in, you know, those gaps in care and love for each other. And I saw that, you know, also in Tangerine and other programs where about trans folks as well. So I just love that. I love seeing the way that we love, you know, each other, and that we are each other's sisters and brothers and siblings and moms and dads, you know, and cousins and aunties and uncles. We create, you know, all these for ourselves too, and it's also beautiful too to see that.
So gorgeous. So after, you know, a lot of people have been talking about you and Papi's proposal and how beautiful it was and stuff like that. You know, a lot of our sisters and our brothers would like to have love. Where did you find how did you feel filming those scenes?
I always feel nervous about talking about you know, like the way that, you know, I felt impacted personally by romantic scenes, because I don't want people to think that I have a personal affinity to, like, you know, the actors that I'm playing opposite with. But I do have to say that Angel, Bismark, Curiel did an incredible job in carrying the love, you know, of Lil Papi for Angel. And I think that is one of the most transformative moments. And your storyline with Christopher Maloney, like, and you know, like, just seeing our engagements and interactions in love are so important. And, you know, there's I'm thinking of, like, the school prison pipeline and that language that talks about that, but there's not really a language to talk about, you know, this pipeline of, like, trans romanticism, trans romance, and violence, and, like, transamory and violence. But that exists. And so it was really incredible to see how the storyline with Papi and Angel kind of destigmatized and deconstructed, you know, and like decentralized the trauma and love for trans folks. I think topics around love for trans people are often very triggering, because in our pursuit to love, we're often met with violence from our families to our romantic partners. So like, it was just really incredible to see like that, you know, that truth. And Angel did such a brilliant job in portraying that love, and like
You both did an amazing job, and
he's
it was
such an
so
incredible actor.
and it was so impactful, but, especially for me, because as I was watching other people watch those moments, it was it was like just the way he would look at you and hold you. I could see some of my sisters go, "Wow, this can happen for me." So it was so beautiful, and I think it's opened, you know, the conversation to, yes, we as trans people, we can be loved and we should be loved, and we do give love. We would, you know, for those of us who want to be, you know. Um, so tell me, what are you doing for fun these days?
Child, I've been playing video games. I have been loving, you know, we be playing online together. But it's been so fun because, you know, I don't like play video games. I haven't really had the space or time to like do anything that isn't working or like you know, showing up, working for myself, working for my community, whatever. And so like, you know, I've had a little bit of that time during quarantine, like for breaks to play video games, and it's been so like therapeutic for me. Like it really has. And I know this sounds silly because we often talk about video games as like this thing that's melting away at your brain, but it's really helpful for me because my mind so often functions around constantly, you know, deconstructing or like naming or like looking for, or like looking out for, so much centered in social justice, like. And I even catch myself in the video games being like, oh my God, how come there's not enough Black characters in here? You know, which are all valid thoughts, but I have them all the time. So it's nice to just be able to submerge myself and my just conscious into just joy and having fun and enjoying the video game. It's the only time where like I don't have to constantly be thinking about it. So you know, it's uncontrollable for me. I'm learning to live with it. But it's also really nice to just have something so accessible that I can submerge myself in. Because even with watching TV and watching movies, I'm always looking for something that's you know, rooted in deconstructing our system, or like something that I can learn from, or whatever, or like at least accurately portrays our reality. But like it's just so nice to just play video games.
I know, because especially I love playing with y'all. Like, yeah, guys, we play Fortnite, so just
play Fortnite down.
We've been putting it out there. We love Fortnite, so yeah. So I'll probably see y'all maybe later today or tomorrow on the game, because I haven't played in a little while.
I need you tonight. I've been waiting for you. I miss you. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Well, sweetheart, I'm going to let you get back to your stuff. It has been wonderful talking to you as always. Much love to you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Hey, Slam. Hey, Lisa. Hey, y'all. I love y'all all so much. Thank you all for coming and showing up for this interview. I'm looking at, you know, we sitting at 1,000, you know, viewers and stuff. And it's just so meaningful to see that people actually care about what we have to share with each other. So thank you. If you haven't watched Pose, please watch Pose and share it with your people. I love you, Dominique. You are such an amazing interviewer.
You are so amazing too.
I miss you so much.
I love you, baby.
I love you too.
Okay, love. So that was the amazing Indya Moore.
I have one more amazing person to interview. We do have Papi himself, who is waiting in the queue. I hope he didn't leave. Oh, the photo behind me is me. So I think I'll come to Orlando after everything is over with. Yeah, so it's the post photo where all of the cast members have actually signed. And it's just meant everything to me. So it's in my living room. I actually have everything here from Pose because I I'm celebrating my success, and I feel like each of us should be able to celebrate our success. You know, because what we're doing and to be a part of this is extremely incredible. I'm still at times like just in shock. Sometimes I say to myself, "Oh my gosh, am I gonna ever am I gonna wake up and everything is gonna be gone?" So, there he is.
So, you know him as Papi. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the one and only Angel B. Curiel. Hey, sweetheart.
What's going on?
How are you? I miss you.
I miss you. Yo, my bad. This time difference had me slipping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm over here thinking it's at like 3 o'clock. I'm at the gym, and I'm like, my manager just called me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Oh, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm at the gym. I'm having a good time. And he's like, "No, you're supposed to be on live." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, you are so funny, so hilarious, and
Please.
you have so many fans that love you so much. And one of the things that I would love to ask you is, how do you feel right now as opposed to before, now that you're actually involved and playing the character and working with the people that you're working with?
As far as how I feel as an individual, like before and after Pose, right?
Yeah.
I feel it's interesting, right? So before Pose, I was very much like I would fall back when I saw trans, right? Since we're talking about Pose, I'll talk specifically about trans women. When they were ridiculed and made fun of, I never said anything, you know, even though I felt uncomfortable and I knew that the things that were said and the jokes that were made weren't right in any way, shape, or form. I never said anything. And then fast forward, and I have Pose, and I have you and Indya and MJ and these beautiful women, and all of your experiences so close, right? Because I get to hear from you and see those conversations that you all have, and I'm like, fuck, like I haven't been doing the right thing by not saying anything, you know.
I hear you.
And so it's been a lifesaver, because it's sent me on a journey towards self-improvement. You know?
I hear you. So let me ask you something. What was your favorite scene to film?
My favorite scene to film. I probably love that proposal scene. You know, I thought it was mad cute, and it was such an honor to be a part of such a thing. You know, to have a love story of that magnitude, and to share space with someone like Indya, and to be able to show the world, hey, like everyone is worthy of love. You know,
that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So tell me,
you, girl.
What I want to know is, how has life changed for you since being on Pose?
Well, for starters, it's given me, right, at the most basic level, resources for not only myself but for my family. And I don't know. It's like it's helping me see the world a lot differently as an actor, and as I grow, and that's at a professional level, and then at a personal level. It's brought so many amazing people into my life. You know, that's can't go wrong with that. You know, you want them too. So what's going on?
You want too much. So all right. Poses is great. Life is great. What would you say now to your brothers and sisters of color what would you say to them now? What education would you, especially to the brothers who may be fighting to dealing with loving people that are trans and not understanding how family may accept it? What advice would you give to them?
Man, no one around you, yourself or even those whom you consider friends and family, have the power or the right to judge you for the decisions that you make with love, to be honest. So I think in particular for, like, if we make it more personal, my girlfriend is trans, right? And I never had any qualms or any reservations or anything like that moving forward with it, because I knew that there was love there. There was there was, I didn't feel like I wasn't anyone to judge myself for feeling how I was feeling. And I think there's a lot of that, there's like a lot of judgment and a lot of stigma and all these things. And I think if we can remove that and see it for what it is, which is just two people trying to connect, then I think we can all sort of learn from that, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And the bravery and the courage, because, a lot of times, men that are dating trans women really don't show up for us. So every time I see you with your girl, I'm just like so happy, and the photos and everything, because I feel like you're teaching the world, you're educating the world, you're showing the world that you see human beings and you see love. And that's what's one things that I love about you, because your heart is so pure, so beautiful, and so genuine. All the time, and you're funny as hell too.
A little bit.
What outfit? What is one of your favorite looks for from Pose?
I gotta say without a doubt that Romeo and Juliet look. And that little blue vest, that little thing, girl. I was like, oh, way back, boy, looking sharp.
You really did look nice. That was another hilarious scene. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Well, sweetheart. Oh, how's the puppy?
Oh my God, he's cute. He's getting bigger every day. It's like he wakes up from a nap and he grows a little bit more, and I get a little bit more scared because I be like, boy, you be looking like a prison dog. Like,
well, that is so beautiful. Well, I thank you for joining me today. I'm sending you lots and lots of love. And say hello to the missus for me. Send her hearts and everything like that. And to the puppy. And I will see you later. Say something to your fans.
I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. My bad for being late.
It's all right. As long as you're handsome, it works. They're loving you. Okay? So take care, my love. Have a good evening.
Mom, I love you. Talk soon. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I believe that was it. That was Angel B. Curiel. And I hope that y'all were listening to the things that he was saying, especially to those of you who date or engage with trans women. We are human beings all the time, 24/7. And we also do deserve and need love and respect. All right? Well, loves, it's been fun chatting with you all. I do hope that you understand a lot of the things that we were talking about today. Remember, Pride was a protest in the beginning, and so not just a parade. So we have to remember these things. Also, I would just like to tell you that being an ally means showing up when we're not there. So sometimes when you're having these conversations with people and you hear them say things, be an ally to our community, because you being an ally could actually help to save a life. You can educate other people in understanding that we are human beings, each and every one of us, and we can coexist in this world. We do not have to kill or harm each other. So on that note, I'm Dominique Jackson. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you to W Mag. It's really been amazing. And guys, Pose is on Netflix. So tune in, watch, rewatch. Love you guys. Take care.